Impatient and tired after a hectic day at work, I got off the train and headed home. It was one of those crisp fall evenings in Philadelphia, just cold enough for a light coat and high-heeled, fashionable boots. The pushing, shoving crowd at the train station had built my frustration to an intolerable level, forcing my mind and body to yearn for some tranquility. I opened the door to my home, and with a sigh that came from somewhere deeper than fatigue, kicked off my boots and let my coat slide off my shoulders to land in a soft heap on the floor. I was still humming with the tension of the overcrowded train, every nerve buzzing, my breathing shallow. My body ached for softness. I needed something more than rest. I needed release. Something to slow me down, warm me up, and remind me I was human, a woman, not a workaholic. I needed it all to melt away. I headed over to the refrigerator, poured a glass of chilled Merlot red wine. The sound of the wine pouring into the glass was like a quiet invitation. I stretched out on the sofa, letting the cushions embrace me like warm hands. After a few sips, I felt calmer and decided to listen to some music. I wanted to hear something soothing. I hung up my discarded coat and put away my boots. I sauntered over to my stereo system and selected my saved playlist of mellow, relaxing, rhythmic amapiano music. With stockinged feet, I padded across the room, flopped down on the sofa, closed my eyes, and entered my happy place, my escapism. The steady beat of the music shifted and deepened, as if it were wrapping itself around me. I felt it in my chest, my thighs, and my head. I was experiencing a total eargasm. With eyes closed, I reached a plateau of tranquility. Then the music shifted, its rhythm quickening, like a lover's pulse against mine. With the wine humming through my veins, I let the music carry me, loosening the frustrations of my hectic day and relaxing me, allowing me to experience peace and enjoyment in its purest form. Then the tempo softened, low and velvety, and I slipped deeper into the sound. With my eyes still closed, I felt every note like a fingertip along my skin. The instruments didn't just play, they breathed, they beckoned. I was enjoying my mental trip when the phone rang. I picked up on the third ring and pleasantly said, "Hi, girl." It was my best friend, Karen. I had assigned her a special ringtone to distinguish her calls from those of other callers. "You sound chilled," she said. "What's up with you? You are sipping on that Merlot, aren't you?" We both laughed. "Girl, I am chillaxing. You know how it is," I replied. "Yep, I do," she responded. "Anyway, I'm just checking on you. Love ya. Later." She knew me so well. When we needed to have long girl-to-girl talks, we did. She hung up because she sensed I wanted to relax. We knew each other's moods. We had a deep understanding of each other's psyches. I should have taken my cell phone with me, but I forgot and left it on the dining table after speaking with Karen. I returned to the sofa and settled back into the spot where my body had warmed a few seconds ago. I was making myself comfortable once more when the second ring came. I picked up my phone and looked at the caller ID. Of course, it was him. Somehow it always was, right when the stillness settled in. He knew me too well. He also knew how I was after work, moody, wound tight, and aching for silence. That's why he didn't give me a chance to discuss anything. He just decided that I needed him. Tailoring my voice, I breathed into the phone, exhaled, sighed, and said, "Hello, sir." After a brief pause, he said firmly, "I am coming over, bye," and he hung up. I suppose my friendly tone surprised him. I was seldom that friendly on the phone after work. Many times I didn't even pick up. I stared at the phone in disbelief for a few seconds after his abrupt hang-up. I muttered to myself, "Wow, that was weird." I was not really in the mood for company, and debated calling him back to say just that. He must have interpreted my relaxed tone as an invitation. His rushed, puzzling response told me he decided he'd better get over there before I changed my mind. I smiled at the thought. Reluctantly, I prepared to see him. I hadn't seen him in about 2 weeks, so I knew he was beginning to feel angry and frustrated with me. Our constant source of frustration and disagreements was my lack of quality time with him. Men don't seem to understand that sometimes women just need some alone time. Sometimes we are content with just cuddling, sharing chummy silence, watching a movie together, or simply touching toes from opposite sides of the couch. I had also come to realize that some men are needy, and require that constant life force from their woman. Anyway, I trudged up the stairs, peeled off my clothes, and decided to take a shower. I knew it would take him about half an hour to 45 minutes to get to my house, so I figured I had enough time to make my shower a leisurely one. I have always loved hot, steamy showers, followed by cool rinses, and this night was no exception. Because I was relaxed by the wine, my shower became a ritual as I paid homage to my body. Slowly, I washed away the day's toil, staring at the soiled water as it went down the drain. As the drain hungrily guzzled and swirled the soiled water cascading from my body, I felt a sense of cleansing relief. Slowly, I added soap to the washcloth, my hand gliding over every inch of my skin, awakening nerves that hadn't felt touched in a long time. The cloth seemed possessed, tracing the same routes a lover might, slow, deliberate, knowing, and I thought about him. The mango coconut body wash smelled almost edible. I stood there, eyes closed, letting the water seduce every chocolate-skinned inch of me. It draped me like a whisper, evoking memories of shared, intimate moments, the memory of familiar fingers, and I moaned softly, not from pain, not from pleasure, but from pure release. Little did I know, I wasn't just rinsing away the day, I was preparing for something more. After a quick towel dry, I moisturized my skin with baby oil and lotion, allowing it to absorb the hydration. Draping my robe around me, I walked into the bedroom, forgetting to remove my shower cap. I was heading back to the bathroom to clean the fogged mirror and put away my shower cap when the doorbell started ringing relentlessly. Damn, I thought, did he jet over here? I was slightly annoyed and thought of how disruptive he had been the whole evening. Nonetheless, I trudged downstairs, pouting slightly. I opened the door and asked sullenly, "What?" He just walked right in. No hello, no words, and when I turned to face him, he reminded me of a lost little boy. He did not speak. Instead, he walked past me into my living room, hands in his pocket. Still, no hello. He could sense I was annoyed. I turned to face him, my robe parted just enough to tease, but not on purpose. My skin was damp and glistening, moisture still clinging, giving it a sultry glow. My shower cap was on and was still wet from the shower, but I could not ignore the hungry look in his eyes. The intensity of his stare trapped me. In the seconds that elapsed, I looked at him, really looked at him. Although he was looking back at me, legs astride, a typical manly stance, hands in his pockets, he looked so lost and uncertain. He continued to stare at me appealingly, his eyes traveling up and down my body, then back to my eyes. He swallowed and continued staring. I felt like a sparring partner, trapped in an extraordinary emotional duel. I knew I had to play it carefully and say the right thing. I sensed that his male pride slightly overshadowed his need for me. So I said, softly, inaudibly, "Hi, honey, how are you?" He didn't speak. He stared, and I softened just enough. His reaction was to grab me, pulling me into him, bending me backwards. He held me so tightly I thought I'd suffocate, his arms wrapped around me with that unmistakable strength. Dense muscle built from years of lifting beams, hammering nails, carrying weight that most men wouldn't even attempt. As a home remodeler, he was accustomed to the strain of rebuilding things with his bare hands, and when he pulled me into him, it felt like he was trying to restore something in me too. His arms didn't just hold me, they contained me, firm, unrelenting, like steel warmed by the sun. I sank into him, disappearing inch by inch, until there was no me, just his heartbeat, his breath, his need, and I felt it all. The frustration of his day, the tension in his muscles, the ache that had nothing to do with tools, timber, or sheetrock. He didn't want to talk, didn't need to. I was his release, his solace. I was his life force, and in that moment, he was mine. Later that evening, I slid from his grasp, like silk slipping through fingers. He murmured something unintelligible and rolled over satisfied. I stood for a moment and watched him, his chest rising, his mouth slightly parted, the tension finally gone. Like a cat, I stretched, purred internally, and padded downstairs to the refrigerator, bare-legged, my robe loosening as I walked. I wasn't hungry for food, not exactly, but I needed something to keep the taste of him lingering. If you've ever needed someone to just show up, and they did, without a knock, without a question, then you already understand.